Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Ribadu, government winning battle against oil theft and banditry. 31 EXCO members pass confidence vote in Akeredolu. Old ways on display during off-season polls, says Abdusalami panel. Academic senior lawyers snubbed in Supreme Court justices' nomination. Federal government can't rely on loans to fund 2024 budget, says minister. Adeleke suspends CJ despite court order. 2023 poll, why INEC experienced internal sabotage. And Salt and Hills Makinde for building mosque in Ibadan. Okay, which story?
I have the Adeleke story. So, Governor of Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke, suspended the Chief Judge, Justice Oyebola Adepele Ojo. Yes, they are replaced her with the next in rank in the judiciary in Osun, Justice Yinka Afolabi in acting capacity. According to Nation, she had gotten an interim injunction restraining the governor from removing her or terminating her appointment, but the governor's spokesperson says that this is as a resolution of the House of Assembly sitting yesterday that resolved that the executive should be informed of this House resolution that the next in order of seniority to Justice Adepele Ojo be sworn in immediately to avoid a vacuum, and that she be told to step aside pending investigations of allegations of misconduct, abuse of power, corruption, and disregard for the rule of law that was, petitioned to the House against her. And so the governor acted in that capacity. I don't know whether this abuse of court process by the governor is... but I know that there are certain house-style laws within the Constitution that prevents the court from intervening in any of this kind of thing. I don't know if it applies to the judiciary, but I know it applies during an impeachment process. I'm trying to see what the law is now. So according to them, the Committee on Judiciary, Public Petitions and Legal Matters have now been directed by the House of Assembly to investigate this petition against Justice Adepele Ojo and report within 7 days.
Yeah, I have the 2023 poll, why INEC experienced internal sabotage. So the chairman of the Board of Trustees of Center for Transparency Advocacy, Dr. Chima Amadi, has said that the INEC experienced internal sabotage during the last general elections because some partisan Nigerians were appointed as resident electoral commissioners. He said that the appointments were made in apparent violation of the provisions of the law and in spite of protestations by many stakeholders over these partisans, in spite of their partisan past. So they said some of the recs that were appointed, we had a former governorship candidate of a political party, the younger sister of the Southeast National Vice President of a political party, a former civil servant dismissed from service in a state on account of corruption, and manager of a hotel belonging to a politician who served as minister at the time of appointment. It's just saying that there's so many things that happened, in the appointment of these recs that shows that, the law was not paid attention to a lot of illegal activities. And so that played a part in sabotaging, the general elections. But INEC has said that it's going to prosecute as many as 215 people for various electoral offenses, which they are being commended for, and also give us an example of in 2019, after the 2019 elections, about 300 people also were prosecuted, and they got 200 convictions. So this sort of prosecution would allow for better, strengthening our democracy and better and a stronger INEC going forward.
Okay, so let me talk about the NJC. That's the National Judicial Council. The Federal Judicial Services nominated 11 justices for the Court of Appeal and to be elevated to the Supreme Court. So we have nominees. Actually, what happened was that the CJN, Olawale Rasheed, had asked the NBA to nominate certain people for the position to be in the Supreme Court. The NBA did forward names from academics, senior lawyers like Olisa Gbakogwa and so many others. Unfortunately, none of them were picked. Ariola had selected for himself, but according to the report chaired by Justice Ariola, has jettisoned the bar's nominations by choosing from among the appeal court justices. So the list contains 6 nominees from Southeast and North Central, 4 from Northwest, and 2 each from Southwest and South and Northeast. Of the 22 justices, 11 are placed in the priority category, and the others are reserves. So we're not sure why he jettisoned the list from NBA and other senior academics. But
before any speculation, it will be nice for him to explain what happened. I want to take the case. The Court of Appeal has declared that the elections in Zamfara is inconclusive, and this is after the tribunal had reaffirmed the election of the PDP Zamfara. The INEC declared, actually presented return ticket to the PDP candidate, Dauda Lawal, as the winner for the Zamfara elections. But after the tribunal, the APC went to appeal the result, and now the appeal court has said that the Zamfara election was inconclusive based on some local government, the Maradon local government area, Birin Magaji, and Bukuyun local government area, and the judge said that the INEC used IREV results, that INEC wasn't meant to use IREV results for collation, it's not part of the collation system, and that the forms and what the IREV is just for public viewing to affirm the result and not for collation purposes, and that the evidence showed that the votes were not fully counted and the result was not properly endorsed, so the result that they collated is not legal, according to the appeal court. I'm sure that the governor is going to be going to this, I don't know, where else he can go, Supreme Court, to find justice. But right now, they've declared that there should be a re-election in the few local governments where they felt that some elections didn't take place.
The Punch, be patient, inherited crisis won't disappear overnight, says Ribadu. Guinea-Bissau at 50, Tinubu pledges support for West Africa's democracy. 80-year-old woman dies in Lagos building collapse. Osun Assembly suspends Chief Judge Adeleke, appoints replacement. PSC NPF considers 65 years as police retirement age. Forex, FG blames low export earnings, plans diversification. Banks USSD debt to telcos hits 200 billion naira. And Senate summons service chiefs, demands security rejigging. Okay, which story?
So Senate on Thursday summoned service chiefs over the unremitting insecurity in the country. At plenary, they said it would engage the service chiefs in a closed session because of security reasons anyway. The lawmakers demanded that the National Security Policy document outlining the framework for an improved and streamlined synergy and coordination among various security agencies be presented to them. The motion was moved by Abdulaziz Yaradua, and he decried the situation. He said Nigeria is facing numerous simultaneous security crises. This includes Boko Haram in the northeast, the activities of bandits and kidnappers in the south, in the northwest, the activities of gunmen and kidnappers in the southeast and south-south, and other forms of criminality like armed robbery, herders and farmer clashes across the country. He said the primary focus of security agencies is to make Nigeria safe. And I would love to hear the NSC on this, and not on economy.
Okay, I have this human interest story about the 80-year-old woman that died after a collapse staircase or stairway in an old building. It collapsed on her and she died. They said this happened about 8:45 a.m. From the report, it said that the collapse may have happened about 7:30 a.m. And then the LASEMA, they got there about 8:42. They were called about 8:30, and they were there about 8:42. Unfortunately, she died, but there were no further injuries. Of course, it will bring up questions like, how come there are people in that building? So the Lagos State Building Agency had gone there, they said 4 months prior, and they had actually sealed the building and stamped it for demolition. They had asked everyone to leave that building, but people were still in there. And unfortunately, this has happened. And there's so many other buildings like that that looks like people are still staying in them even after they've been told to vacate those buildings.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. We're going to come back and continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.